and then also a catch-up of the transfer market. We are also live on YouTube, so we will be jumping into the chat as and when people join to just discuss some of the comments that are made. So, first of all, Corey, it's been a while, mate. How you doing? You okay?
Yeah, not bad at all, Ben. How are you, mate?
Yeah, can't complain. So, I think the first one I want to really touch on, mate, is obviously the one that's a bit, should we say, touchy with a lot of Villa fans. The Daniel Marlon exit. Obviously, I know we've both done videos on TikTok around it. But just briefly, do you want to just summarise your feelings on Daniel Marlon's exit from Aston Villa Football Club, or pending exit, should we say? Because it hasn't actually officially been announced, but we are there or thereabouts, aren't we?
Yeah, of course. Listen, for me, I think we've both said the same thing. Obviously, he seems a nice guy, and it is a shame to see him go, especially after obviously only 18, no, not even 18 months, a year at the club. But at the same time, I just think we've not been able to find anything that works for him. And with the wages he was on, I think he was on 140 grand a week.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, he's had a couple of good games this season. He's scored a few goals, but can we really afford to keep him for 6 months pushing for Champions League just off the back of him potentially doing well and coming off the bench? He's not a striker, we know this, and he can't play off the right. So it's like, unless he's playing with Watkins, which Emery doesn't like to play, it's not going to work. And when we do play that, we're only doing it for 20 minutes at a time.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's more so the profile of player. I don't think the wages are as such are the issue here in this sense. It is solely the profile doesn't fit what Unai Emery wants from Daniel Marlon. Effectively, I think he was brought in to be that man who was going to be the second striker or wide player to play with Ollie Watkins or play in the side, and it just hasn't quite worked. So it kind of is what it is at the end of the day. I think we just need to move on from it, in my opinion. Look, it's happened. He's gone. Wish him all the best because he's been I'd say like a character that's been at the football club, a bit like Moussa Diaby when he left. He left on good terms. And I don't think any Villa fan wanted Diaby to go. Like no Villa fan really wanted Daniel Marlon to go. But sadly, that is kind of where we're at. And we move on, on to different. Should we say different ventures? I was going to say bigger and better things, but I don't think that's probably the fairest thing to say, and that is obviously the potential arrival of Tammy Abraham, a former cult hero, or former's not the right word, a cult hero of Aston Villa from our Championship years, a man who has gone on to have a decent career since leaving us, I would say. Winning the Champions League at Chelsea, gone to Roma, done fairly well, I would say. At most places he's gone. And he looks like he could be coming back to the football club. How do you feel on the potential of Tammy's return?
Listen, I'm all for it. I think we all know the quality of Tammy Abraham. I think he is a goal scorer. He's scored goals everywhere he's been. He's played football at the highest level. He scored in the Champions League. He scored at the top end of the Premier League as well. Obviously, people will look and say, "Oh, we're getting him from Turkey." I think people need to remember he's only gone to Turkey because of that ACL injury. That ACL injury he picked up at Roma. He was playing well for them over in Italy, and then he sort of just fell out of the plans, I think, and it was a case of he needs to be playing regularly just so Roma can see some sort of benefit from it and either bring him back or sell him on, which is obviously what they were planning on doing. He's a different option to Watkins. He's not someone who is necessarily always going to be running behind. He can run in behind. He's got that in him, but he's also a bit of a target man, which again excites me a bit. I think with the way Watkins plays running off the ball, we could potentially see that sort of link up top if them two end up playing together in a couple of games where Abraham is flicking it onto Watkins and that sort of thing. And obviously, Watkins, don't get me wrong, he's a good header of the ball, but one thing we do tend to lack is we don't cross the ball into the box. I mean, we've seen tonight, obviously, anybody who's watching this on the day of recording, Thursday, Tammy Abraham's actually scored a goal for Besiktas tonight, which was a header, and it was a very good header. We don't tend to cross the ball in the box, but that creates a different option. And when Marlon comes on, we're not doing that either. So it is something different. It's a different style of play that we can play.
Sorry for those of you that are watching now or are watching it at a later point, just to give you a bit of insight, I'm just quickly editing the name of the video on YouTube. So that's why I'm looking down at my phone. I am listening to everything Corey's saying. Yeah, it was a lovely header as well. The goal, I don't know if you've seen it. If you
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lovely header. that's kind of what you're getting, though. You're getting a clinical finisher in Tammy Abraham, someone who knows where the back of the net is, and that's kind of like say what we need when Ollie Watkins isn't ticking. It's going to, and you know what? Also, because of the level of Tammy, and Tammy's, let's be realistic. I'm not. I'm going to put it out there now, and I'm probably going to sound very, very rogue. If Tammy comes in and hits the ground running, his mindset will be not to just kind of Aston Villa. His mindset will be to try and push a lot of the England squad. I know he's miles
Yeah.
and miles off that at the moment, but realistically, if he comes to the Premier League and he scores goals for fun, his name's going to start to get mentioned again if he can stay fit and get a run of games. It's not that a million miles away that it was like last in and around the squads. You know what I mean? It was obviously it was some time ago, but he has been in and around the squad, hasn't he?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, I saw a graphic today actually. I can't name all the players, but it was English strikers with the most goals in Europe, and you've got Harry Kane's obviously ahead with 20 goals, and then after that it's a tight knit race between Calvert-Lewin, Watkins, uh, Keenan Davis is on there. Funnily enough, Tammy's not on there, but like you say, if he has a good 6 month period now and those other lads fall off, hopefully, obviously for our sake, Watkins doesn't, and we can both start scoring. But there's no reason he can't make the England squad. And let's not forget as well, Emery wanted him before that ACL injury, so
Yeah,
it's not like it's just a out of the blue signing where it's like let's bring him back to the club because he was there before, that sort of thing. Emery wanted him, and obviously he got the ACL injury, and it was just a thing of like there's no point signing him now because of well, you obviously can't really sign an injured player anyway, but he's clearly watched him and thought, yeah, that's the sort of player I want.
yeah, no, I'm with you. And to be fair to it, let's be realistic. I don't think any of us are in a position where we should be criticizing and doubting Unai Emery. Like the guy's fucking is a genius, isn't he? Like, let's be realistic. He's the reason we are where we are currently. So we all, as a Villa fans, owe Unai Emery absolutely everything. I know there were certain parts of the fan base
Yeah.
that were critical of him, which I didn't think was right at the time, and I'm glad to see that he has kind of shut everyone up to not to sound funny, but that's kind of what he has done. He's silenced the critics, and that's where we're at now. It's time to, like I say, time to move forward. Back the manager. He deserves every bit of backing. And if he's the man that said, "Oh, you know what, Tammy, he's the man that I want to bring into Aston Villa. I think I can get more out of Tammy Abraham." Back it.
The thing is, as well, I think one thing that people need to remember is we need depth. Like, at the end of the day, you look at Arsenal, for example. Arsenal obviously will most likely win the Premier League this year. You never know, but it looks that way.
Hopefully not.
But the reason that last month they've done so well with all these injuries is the players they've got to bring in. I'm not saying we're going to be able to do that. We understand with PSR and stuff like that, we can't do that. But I've seen a lot of sort of rumours over this transfer window. It's like, oh, Villa have been linked to this person, been linked with this person. And people are like, no, I'm not having him. I'm not having it. Like I saw today, slightly off topic, I saw today about Weston McKennie again. And people are like, no,
God.
I don't want Weston McKennie. I'm like, Weston McKennie's a very good footballer for Juventus. He's got experience and it's depth. That's what it is. It's nothing to do with him starting games. It's that sort of, and I think obviously that's something that I sort of wanted to bring up to you, Ben, before we get into sort of Everton pre-game.
A lot of
Is
different tones in our voice there when you said Weston McKennie. I'm definitely on the bandwagon of no, thank you. I know he's done well at Juventus, but he was absolutely shite in the Premier League. He was so bad.
He was, but I think obviously it depends on your manager as well. And I think one thing I wanted to bring up to you before we obviously get into Everton is there's obviously been this Conor Gallagher situation, which we'll ignore the Conor Gallagher thing, but who do we want to fit that role? There's a few names that I've seen sort of been thrown out there. There's a couple that I've sort of been interested in, but I want to know from your perspective, is there anyone in particular you're thinking I'd like to see them sign, or
What, for a centre midfield role? I'll be honest.
just that sort of Gallagher role where it's like someone who can play any of those sort of positions?
I am. That is the last of my priority at the moment. To be honest with you, striker that replacing Marlon was the one that I wanted, and then after that, personally, I wanted a new right winger. I've always thought in the central area we are pretty stacked in there. And realistically, John McGinn, he's not a right winger. He should, in my opinion, be playing on the right wing. So he's there because obviously Evan Gesson's been away, but Evan Gesson's shit as well. So for me, the areas that we should be strengthening in, he should have been a striker and a winger. I'm happy with and I think I've said it to you quite a few times. I'm quite happy with the players that we've got in that area. I don't think we need one. I think we need a winger to give us something different, because it's all well and good having a McGinn there and then playing the more of a narrow formation 4-2-2-2 whatever. But if it doesn't work and then we need to change it and we need to mix it up, what's plan B?
Yeah. Do you think we need a right back just as a better backup option than Andres
No,
Garcia? Or
no,
you
because
think that
Lamar
Garcia will be?
Bogan. I'm not Garcia. I think Garcia will go eventually. I think Lamar Bogard is more than capable and more than adequate deputy to fill that role as well. Maybe in the future it's potentially needed, but at this current minute in time, I don't particularly think it's a priority. Look, if PSR and SCR is as close as, I'm sick to fucking death of hearing about that now, to be honest with you. I'm sick to death of talking about it. But if it is another season where we have to get through, then it is what it is. I do think next season we will be able to spend a bit, because obviously with the return of Champions League football, surely, and also all the extra little bits of like sponsorship that we've been adding, because over the last, we had that Capo, whatever it is, the one that's on the seats that's now going to be our front of shirts. We've had that Russian vodka. We've had that Egyptian brand as well recently. But it just seems to be, and there's probably loads I've just forgot, but there just seems to be adding more and more sponsorships like every other week, and it's what the club need to do. Like, and especially while we've got European football every season, this is how you grow your brand of your football club. The next most important thing for us now is start that pissing work on the north stand and grow the revenue of the stadium, and start, get that the infrastructure in place to go on and push ourselves. Look, there's been that heated debate between Villa and Spurs fans. Look, Spurs are not a bigger football club than Villa. They're not. It's categorically not. But they are a more financially driven football club, and they've got a lot more resource than what we have, because of how well Daniel Levy has done. Spurs fans are the most idiotic fans. Look, they might have reasons to hate Daniel Levy, but the reason they are in the position that they are in now is because of the work that Daniel Levy's put in. The reason why they're in that new multi-billion-pound stadium, or whatever, however much it costs, is because of the work of Daniel Levy. And if it weren't for him, I think I read it earlier, since 2020, they have outspent Arsenal, and they're sat in the bottom, like finished, what is it, 17th last year, and then they're down the bottom half now. Like, absolutely atrocious. And then they can just go and slap 40 million on Gallagher, because they've got the financial backing, they've got the revenue streams there. We don't have that. Like, I was going to do some content on it over the next few days, to be honest with you, saying to Villa fans, if I told you now, in 4 years time, if you was to build a new stadium, you could go out and spend whatever you want as a football club, would you do it? And see what people said. Personally, I would not want to kill the soul of the football club, and I would rather keep Villa Park and slowly build. Look, it might be more of a slow burner. Sorry, I'm going off a right tangent here, but it might be more of a slow builder. But I would rather personally fucking die than than move away from Villa Park. Villa Park is our home. It's our, everything about our football club is our history is from Villa Park, and I would personally rather not. Fair play to the Spurs. Ultimately, that's what they did. But yeah. Anyway, let's go back to where we was on, because it's just gone off a right tangent about Conor Gallagher. I'm more than happy with our central areas. I just feel we need a right-sided player. What about you?
No, I completely agree. I think the thing is, for us as a club, I mean, you mentioned it there slightly with Spurs in the sense of how they've recruited poorly, if we're being honest, the money they've spent. One thing that we've done is, obviously, that midfield area, we've recruited perfectly. We've probably got one of, if not on its day, the best midfield in the Premier League. And that's a fair assessment. I think pound for pound, when you're looking at money spent compared to player ability, it's unbelievable. The key thing now for us is spending that in other areas. So, like, for example, I think Tammy Abraham coming in, whether people like it or not, for me, I think is a better backup than having Marlon, just because of system play and things like that. Marlon may end up being a better player, but we don't know that. Like you say, right wing's a key spot. John McGinn is not a right wing. He can't pass the ball. I love John McGinn, but he can't cross. He can't pass the ball unless it's from a stationary position. So we need someone to come in. Like I say, Allison, by the sounds of it, seems to be sort of making his way into the squad now, which should be a good sign. It's a good sign to see. Gasson, hopefully something comes of him, but again, we don't know. I mean, by the sounds of it, he could be off as part of the deal for Tammy Abraham. We don't know yet.
Did you read into Emery's comments about we made a mistake in the summer? Like, because some people are saying that could potentially be Evan Gesson. Could it be Sancho? Who knows? What he's mistake is.
I don't think it's Sancho.
I
I
think
think
it
he
might be
likes
Gesson
Sancho. I think it's
because
Gesson and
he's
Harvey Elliott.
well,
Those,
well, actually, Elliot. There you go. You're probably right because it'd be a bit weird if he said it about Evan Gesson, considering there's a potential that he could stay around the football club. Like Harvey Elliott, most likely is going to go,
I think
and he might even not be saying it about Harvey Elliott as a footballer. He might just be saying it about the deal that was negotiated with
that's what it'll be
with
because
Liverpool.
no one, there's no manager in the world, especially a manager as good as Unai Emery. He's not going to look at Harvey Elliott and say, "That's not a good player." We all know once Harvey Elliott leaves Aston Villa, unfortunately, Harvey Elliott's going to go on to have a wonderful career in the Premier League, and he'll probably end up playing for a Spurs, maybe even go back to Liverpool again.
Yeah,
He will play for a big six team and potentially even someone like Newcastle, wherever. He will play in a top side. The issue there is that the way it was done has ruined him for us at Villa, and that could have
so
been him
I'll give
for
my
us.
opinion on it. Before I do, if you are new to the channel, make sure to smash that like and subscribe. But we do give away a match shirt or tickets of your for a game of your choice every time we get to 500 more subscribers. We are nearly at the next giveaway, so make sure to don't miss out on that, guys. If you are listening to me and Corey, let us know in the comment section what you think on what we're chatting. I'd love to get more Villa fans involved and what we're waffling about. One thing I would say, I am not holding my breath out, and I'm not giving up on the potential that Liverpool might change the agreement because it doesn't benefit them. It doesn't benefit us, and they're not going to take him back. So if they're not going to take him back, he can't play anywhere else. Surely it benefits them for him to even take away that stupid rule clause, or say, okay, that's fine, we'll increase it, but if he gets to 25 games or 20 games from now to the end of the season, 20 games. I said 20 games out of through all competitions because he's only played, was it 5 games? I think he's played for us. So if he's another 50, if he plays 15 games from now to the end of the season, which is a lot of games, but obviously we are still in the FA Cup, we are still in the Europa League. If he plays 15 games, then you have to trigger it because if he plays 15 games during that period, that tells me he has done more than enough to potentially warrant being bought. So we'll see. That's what I think could happen because I just don't see how it benefits Liverpool. Surely him playing and putting himself in the shop window, that benefits them more as a football club.
Yeah, then I think part of me tends to think we obviously spent, I don't know the exact figure on Evan Gesson. I know there's some people say it's 35, some people say it's 25. It's around that sort of area, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I wonder whether that's what sort of annoyed Emery is the thing of like Harvey Elliott's 35 million and then this loan. Potentially, we know obviously there's rumours that he didn't want Harvey Elliott. But maybe that's what he means when he says, well, I could have just gone and bought Harvey Elliott for 35 million and saved the money on Gesson and used him how I wanted to. Or similar to what you say now, getting the most out of him. Part of me does wonder if there's ever a chance of him coming back next season on loan with a different. But I just think from his perspective, he wouldn't want to do it.
Why would he want it? Yeah, exactly. That's washed. I just think it's a mistake's happened. It is kind of is what it is. Club need to learn from it, and we just need to move on. Ultimately, it kind of is what it is. It's a shame it didn't work out, but that's kind of as and where it will be left, should we say? But now, like I say, it's time to move forward as a football club now. And when I say moving forward, is there any other transfer bits you want to touch on before we move on to Everton?
No, I think we've covered most of it, really, haven't we?
Right. So Everton coming up this weekend, and right, I am fairly confident. I'm not going to lie, especially with obviously the news that Adrissa and also Iliman Ndiaye won't be playing because of Senegal's progression to the next round of AFCON, to the final, should we say. I think personally we go into that game, and I'm pretty confident going into any game at Villa Park that we'll beat absolutely everyone and anyone, if I'm going to be honest with you, just because of the fortress that is Villa Park. But Everton have been shit recently, haven't they? They've been really bad. I've seen. I speak to a few toffees online, and they just tell me that, especially at home, they've been crap. Obviously, I know they got that 3-0 win. Was it away at Forest? I believe it was.
Yeah,
might be wrong. I'm sure it was 3-0, which isn't a bad result at all, to be honest with you. But I'm pretty confident.
2-0 away, wasn't it? It was 3-0 at home.
That's correct. Yeah, you are right. Nothing worries me in the slightest. Some people might say, "Oh, will Jack Grealish have a good game?" Is that a possibility? Does Jack Grealish really worry you anymore? I think he's come up against Matty Cash multiple times for City, and Matty Cash has fucking 1, 2, 3, put them in his back pocket, not the points, but it's Jack Grealish, and had him in his pocket all game. You know, Matty Cash has controlled Jack Grealish every time he's played against him.
Yeah, I think like obviously we're a different team to when we played at the Hill Dickinson as well. I think we were very fortunate to come away from that game at the Hill Dickinson with a point. I think it's fair to say that day.
Oh yeah, 100%. We owe them one though.
Yeah, but that's the thing. At home, we tend to sort of. I mean, obviously, we're formidable at home, and I think the Spurs game was crucial. I think actually winning that game proved something to because I'm not gonna lie. I know there's a lot of Villa fans out there who won't like what I'm about to say. I wasn't too fussed about what the result was in that game. I didn't mind if we got knocked out the FA Cup purely because I was like, do we need extra games, this, that, and the other? After the game and actually seeing, I'm just like, do you know what? I'm glad we actually went into it and beat Spurs and beat the team that we should be beating.
We've the thing is, though, now, mate, now that we've got Newcastle at home, if we beat Newcastle at home, which I think we will, look where that puts us. Then is that into the round of 16? Then, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're not miles away from like semi-finals at Wembley.
Yeah, 100%.
Not that I'm arsed about a Wembley day out in the semi-final. Who gives a toss about that? It's the final in it and winning it. That's what we need. That's it. I've got scarring from the last semi-final against Crystal Palace. So hopefully, if we do get progressing again this year, the final it won't be as bad this year because honestly, that day at Wembley, it was lovely building up to the shall we say the whistle when it actually kicked off. And then after that, it was fucking horrendous, wasn't it? But anyway, moving on from that very swiftly because otherwise I might go and get bloody I don't know, a knife out the drawer or something. Anyway, no, what? But yeah, Everton. Is there anything that concerns you with Everton?
Not particularly. I mean, like you said, the one key thing is going to be Jack Grealish. If Jack Grealish is on form, he can create chances, that sort of thing. We know he's always a danger man, but as you say, Matty Cash has done what. I mean, don't get me wrong. The game at Hill Dickinson, Matty Cash had an absolute mare against him and he tore him apart. But again, that was a different Villa team. I think the midfield has to be right though.
It's all apart though. He didn't do it. He didn't really do anything though, did he? And he didn't score. He did all right.
A lot of chances though.
They didn't put it away though, did they?
No, exactly. But the midfield's the key part. Obviously, we've got no Kamara, no Onana.
Mm-hmm.
So that the key for us now is
Bogard and Tielemans, weren't it? Most likely.
It has to be for me. I don't want to see John McGinn in that number 6 role.
God no. I love McGinn again, but I would rather. Do you know what? Actually, McGinn's got to play off the right. He's got to play off the right, supporting Cash with Grealish because that will be their only threat. Bogard and Tielemans in the centre of the park.
Rodgers down the middle.
No, Rodgers I think will be off the left. Rodgers has played off the left all season. Probably Buendia in the middle, yeah. That's what I think it'll be.
No Sancho.
Probably not, mate. Well, unless Emery's going to go balls deep and say, you know what, in so many words, we're going to batter you, we're going to score more goals than you, which I don't see.
Jacob Bryan still playing right back for him?
Does play right back for them, yes.
Right.
Jacob. Well, I don't know if Keane might be injured. I'm not 100% sure. I could be waffling absolutely.
Michael Keane's not playing. He's suspended.
There you go. Then
he got the red card.
Bear with me. I'll just get the Everton potential team up.
James Garner maybe at right back?
No, I don't see because Garner's been probably their best player this year. Surely they're going to put him in the centre of the park, especially with just a guy being injured.
Yeah.
For the game against Sunderland, they played Tarkowski. And O'Brien centre half, and then they played Nathan Patterson at right back. So you might see that against Villa. And like Mikalenko at left back, but he's shit, isn't he, Mikalenko? He's so poor.
Is when you look at the fullback, I mean, obviously Everton fans will agree. Fullback is their weakest area at the moment. So that's why I do wonder, do you look at someone like a Sancho and say, right, just run at Patterson, just keep running at him, keep sort of trying whatever you can. If you lose the ball, you lose the ball, but just keep relentlessly running at him. And the same with McGinn. Obviously, when McGinn gets the ball, if he's playing off the right, just keep going at Mikalenko. Keep going. So it's an interesting one.
I'll tell you who's dog shit as well. what's his Tyler Diblin? He's dog shit. 40 million was it they spent on him or something like that?
Yeah, he's struggled, hasn't he? But he'll be starting right wing. Obviously, with no Iliman Jai.
Well, Dwight McNeil.
Potentially, yeah.
Dwight McNeil, Dewsbury Hall could potentially play out there. Just trying to think who else they've got. The bit bleak.
To be
in options.
fair, we spoke about it earlier. Actually, that could be the key for Everton if they want to try and get anything out of us. Is
Timmy Rabunam will play.
Yeah,
they had an academy player at centre midfield for the last game. Called Harrison Armstrong.
Yeah, he had a good loan spell at Preston.
Just been recalled. Yeah, he'll probably play.
But again, that's another.
Is Dewsbury Hall going to be back because he had a hamstring injury?
I'm not sure. But one thing, like you say, about like any sort of threats, I think if Everton are to do anything against us, it will be McNeil into Beto or McNeil into Barry just in the air. We spoke about it earlier today, me and you obviously on the phone. That is probably one of our weaknesses is Konza and Pau Torres are not good in the air. So if they can get the balls into the box, that's probably going to be their way to sort of try and cut through us. But like I say, Villa Park, we should have enough just to, even if they score, we should be able to get 3 or 4.
Oh, 100%. Just gotta go and beat them, man. Lord, let's be realistic. It's bloody.
We'll only have
it would be a typical though Aston Villa result though. If we say a typical, it isn't a typical of Aston Villa from now, but from the past, it would be a typical Aston Villa result to go and drop points here against Everton. But at home now, I just fancy us against absolutely anyone. So I think we'll dust Everton this weekend. I'm going to go for a 3-0 Aston Villa win this weekend. Let us know your score predictions in the chat, guys. If you are listening to the me and Corey waffle about the Villa area, love to hear from some more Villa fans what you think the score will be this weekend and first goal scorer as well. I think Ollie Watkins is bound to get a goal this weekend.
I think he will as well. I am listening. I'm just looking at the fixtures for this weekend just to see how it could benefit us. So we're the only game on Sunday.
I kind of know where we are coming into Sunday.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, though, mate, I'm not too bothered about anything. I know Wolves and Newcastle are playing before us, and I think I actually think Wolves could get something from Newcastle at home.
Well, Chelsea have got Brentford, which obviously both of them are below us.
Something.
But both of them are below us, so someone's got to drop points.
I'm not concerned about Brentford, though. They're going to tail off at some point.
City and Man United are playing against each other, which is a potential chance for us to gain on City, go above them.
I'll beat Man United.
They should do, but it's at Old Trafford. Liverpool have got Burnley.
4-0.
Liverpool will win. And Arsenal have got Forest again at the City ground. You never know. But
Come on, Forest.
I imagine Arsenal will probably win about 7-0. But yeah, like you say, listen, we've got to go into it and play our football, do what we can, be Aston Villa of now, not Aston Villa of recent times. Will we have any new signings in the picture? Who knows?
Maybe Alisson potentially on the bench.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you, because I know you are a massive advocate for this man. Lindelof or Pau Torres?
Pau Torres.
Good man. I'm glad you answered it that way.
Yeah. The only reason we didn't actually do a podcast for Palace, did we? Unfortunately,
no.
So the reason Ben's saying that is because we had a discussion about the Palace game, didn't we? And I said because it was Pau Torres' first game back, I wanted Lindelof to play, and I think Lindelof has been brilliant for us. But now that Pau Torres is fully fit, he has to play.
Comes back in, don't he?
Yeah,
straight away.
especially with having a weaker midfield. I think that's fair to say. I think that could be something that's crucial, is getting that ball from Pau Torres straight through to Morgan Rogers as quick as possible.
I think you bang on the money, mate. To be honest with you, I think you've hit the nail on the absolute head. And Pau Torres, what he gives us in terms of his ball play, he's by far our best ball playing centre back. I think I would go Ian Maatson as well off the left. I think he's
earned his place. I think.
Oh, the shirt he's at the moment, like without a shadow of a doubt. But it would just be interesting to see who's around him. So Emi Martinez should come back into the side. You would assume.
Yeah, and then Cash and Cons will play.
And then who else? So we're going to go Bogard, Tielemans. On the right, it'll probably be McGinn, centre attacking midfield, Buendia, and then
Yeah.
off the left, Morgan Rogers with Watkins up top.
What do you think we see if Bogard doesn't play? So if he goes McGinn and Tielemans,
Oh
do we see
God,
Gasson go off to the right?
I don't think he will. Not with that Everton midfield. If how weak it is,
But his defensive, but like hypothetically speaking, if he does go McGinn, who goes off to that right? Is it Gasson purely for his defensive ability?
I don't want to think. I don't want to think about that.
Or does
Not guessing. I'm
start?
not saying guessing. I'm just thinking, say more so from McGinn centrally because I don't think him and Tielemans between them are good enough defensively. I'm always concerned when that's our centre midfield. If and when it is, we miss Bogard and not Bogard. Sorry, we miss Kamara and Anana.
This is the thing, isn't it? If it was Kamara and McGinn like it was earlier in the season, you're not as worried purely because of Kamara's defensive ability, but because it's Tielemans and McGinn, it's a different situation. Like if it was Bogard and McGinn, I'd feel more confident than if it was Tielemans and McGinn.
I think Bogard's got to start. I'm a massive. You know, we've had many conversations on the channel about Lamar Bogard, and I'm a massive fan of his, and I think he's got such a bright future at Lamar Bogard, Lamar Bogard, as he's announced at Villa Park, which is how you actually pronounce his name. I think he's class either, and I think if you put him next to Tielemans, you know, at least you've got the ball progressor in Tielemans and you've got someone who can do the nitty-gritty stuff in Lamar Bogard. Yes, he's not going to be to the level of what Abubakar Kamara and Anna are, but he's still got that is his game. He's a defensive midfielder, isn't he? Whereas I don't see McGinn as a DM. I think McGinn, for me, he's at his best position probably is a 10, but he's not like a technical 10 who's going to, you know, play, you know, ball splitting passes. I mean, defense splitting passes. Sorry, but he's that, you know, counter presser. He's going to be here, there, and everywhere, nipping at your ankles, and he's the type of player that you love in your team, John McGinn. That's why we kind of shoehorn him into the side by putting him right wing because we need him in the side because what he gives you by setting the energy, setting the tone. It's massive. I'll tell you what, like as much as like we say, like, you know, in terms of a technical footballer, I don't think he's superb. But when he does go, John McGinn, we are going to absolutely fucking miss him so much because he's, you know, he's our leader, isn't he, at the end of the day?
We've said it a few times. If he plays well, Villa play well.
Oh, of course they do. Of course we do.
If he doesn't play well, we don't. He's the captain. He's the player that everyone looks at and says, whatever McGinn does today is what I'm doing. If he's there busting, I mean, he's always busting a gut, to be fair to him. There's no, even in poor games, he'll run ragged. It's just sometimes it looks stupid because he's nowhere near the ball, when other times he's winning the ball back. But like you say, that first 5-10 minutes at Villa Park, if we can get ourselves a goal, we can ride along then, I think. The one thing I don't want to see from Villa is what we've seen too often recently, where we'll be on top of games, go 2-0 up, and then sit back and say, game done. Go and kill it off. Why bother letting teams back into it? We did it against Forest. Forest were out of that game at 2-0, and we go and concede, and it's 2-1. There was another game a couple of weeks before that. I can't remember which game it was. Can't remember. But we went 2-0 up in that game and did the same thing. Young Boys in the Europa League, we did it.
Oh yeah, that was shit though, wasn't it? The second half, we went 2-1, and we probably could have lost. I mean, could have drew that game.
Probably deserved to, draw that game. But anyway, that's negative. That's in the past. We've got Everton on the weekend. Hopefully, another win. Anything else to add, Ben?
No, I think we've covered everything, guys. As always, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and also smash that like button. We do really appreciate all of your support in helping the channel grow. And last one from me and Corey. Up the